I never knew there would be a superhero movie worse than Spider-Man 3, but I found it! I found that the worst superhero movie I've ever seen is Catwoman. But Fantastic Four comes pretty damn close. So a scientist and his bodyguard go to his boss's office to explain about doing a mission in space. And his boss is obviously the villain. Who are you trying to fool? He wears black, he talks sinisterly, he hides his face in shadows, he walks like a villain, and his last name is Doom! How much more obvious can you get? Why don't you get a man who clicks a letter constantly, is in a room full of smoke, wears fire colors, and name him Mr. Arson! So these three people, the boss's girlfriend and the girlfriend's brother, all go into space. The brother doesn't have any science experience, so why the hell is he in space? Isn't that like having a pacifist going to war or an atheist going into Scientology? So they go into space and then there's this cosmic thing that attacks them. And they wake up in the hospital. How the fuck did they get there? Did the ship go into autopilot? So the group slowly gets their powers and the villain is obviously the villain now. Let's see, kills people, gets his evil powers, is at odds with the group, wearing a fucking mask at one point and using electricity for his own personal gain. Subtlety! It's called subtlety! One of them can turn into fire, the other can stretch himself out, the other can turn invisible, and the other is made out of rock. So the Thing wants Mr. Fantastic to fix him. Since he takes a long time, he goes to the bad guy, who says he can fix him. So let me get this straight. The scientist, Mr. Fantastic, is apparently a genius, but not only failed with the space mission, but can't get his friend back to normal. And the bad guy, who is obviously evil, can fix him? The leader of this ragtag group is a bit of a fucktard, isn't he? I mean, I have to go back to the bad guy first of all. Why is the movie making him so obviously evil? At least in a movie like Spider-Man, the main villain actually goes through a transformation to become the bad guy. Dr. Doom is the same throughout the whole movie, even with or without his powers. You have to be a little more clever than that. So the bad guy changes the Thing back to his human form. Which begs the question, why would you put your fate into the obvious villain? Isn't that like trusting a drug addict with your fucking medication? Use your goddamn thoughts! So Dr. Doom changes the Thing by using a machine to change the Thing's rocky physique, which somehow gives more power to Dr. Doom. So Dr. Doom is about to use his powers for obvious evil, and wants to stop the people who want to stop him. The climax consists of Dr. Doom destroying things, the Fantastic Four trying to stop him, which leads to something I've always questioned. It's 4 against 1! Why is it so hard for the group to actually defeat him? And isn't it a little unfair for the villain? So after the climax, the team finally stops Dr. Doom by setting him on fire at a high temperature, and hosing him off, freezing him, because of some scientific thing, I guess, that can happen. And they store him into Top Men. I'm serious, they put him in a crate away from society. Great! They're stealing from better movies! You think that's bad, you should see the fucking sequel. And Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Girl get together. I should have mentioned that during this review, but let's face it, their chemistry makes the chemistry of Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie from The Tourist look like Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. Yeah, bit of a fucking stretch, isn't that, people? So how is this movie? It's pretty bad. The movie is jumbled, the plot is standard, the villain is horribly obvious, and Mr. Fantastic and Jessica Alba aren't that good in this movie. And did I mention the lackluster special effects? The only good things in this movie are the Human Torch and the Thing. They have some pretty good back and forth together. And unfortunately, they have to suffer through one more of these. Pray for these people. And me.